My name is Gwilda Wiyaka. I'm the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Art School. It's a one-of-a-kind, state-certified occupational school of shamanic arts. I'm also a singer-songwriter with my partner in crime, Cody Weigel. Together, she and Bill Cody and King Pfeiffer are Starfire, the group is Starfire. And that's what we opened with. And now we're going to close with, some talk about shamanism and what it is and what it can do during these times, what it's done in the past, and where it can go in the future. I'm also an author, unencumbered by any prior knowledge of the English language. It wasn't even my first. But when the book isn't out there, I guess you just have to write it. So my latest book is So We're Still Here? Now What? Shamanism, most people think of our beautiful Red Brothers as being the ones that carry shamanism, and indeed they do. And against all odds and against all adversity have preserved it on this continent. And I want to give a deep, deep gratitude to those who did so. Because without it, we wouldn't have the opportunity to become whole again, to evolve into a place where we can channel the light that's coming in these wonderful times. Shamanism is an ancient earth-based practice that is actually at the base of every nationality. You don't have to be red, you don't have to be yellow, you don't have to be white, and you don't have to be black. But you do have to be rainbow. There's Tibetan shamanism, there's Celtic shamanism, there's Siberian shamanism, and I could go on until we're blue in the face. I've worked in the field for over 30 years, and finally have come up with a definition for shamanism. You ready? It's a mouthful. Shamanism is an organized set of rituals designed to help the practitioner focus their natural ability to manage matter at the quantum level. Whoa. Now, the quantum level, bless Einstein, is where electrons and protons pop in and out of existence. It's the energetics before manifestation and physicality. So if we actually have the ability to manage matter at the quantum level, we have the ability to manifest. In fact, we already are. Look at your life. Do you like it? If not, the buck stops here. Because we manifest our lives, but mostly unconsciously. The people that went before me had a beautiful and painful message about programming. We have all been programmed. We have all been programmed to be less than what we are and believe in our lack. During a time of long dark, and that was a time that needed to be there. All of these things are appropriate. We come as souls to experience life in any given set of circumstances. Well, what am I going to be like when we're in a long, dark period when direct access to spirit is not available? What's that going to be like for me? Who am I going to be then? These are the kind of things we ask ourselves before we come in. So if you don't like being here now, you've got nobody to blame but yourself. Channel my mother. But the beauty of that is the minute we quit whining about our lives and feeling victimized and take responsibility, I'm sure you've heard this time after time again this week, you're suddenly in power. Because if you created it, you can dismantle it and recreate it any way you want. But let's go talking about that programming again. During the long dark, there was less light to see by. There was less frequency. Einstein has this wonderful saying, and I'm going to paraphrase it miserably, so please forgive me. Everything is frequency. Everything. And I teach that. Everything expresses according to frequency. But reality, therefore, is also frequency. Control the frequency, and you control the reality. We're living in a time when a system has taken over the management of the frequency of the masses, and therefore we created a reality that is absolutely parasitical in nature. That was the fourth world. And that was natural and right for the fourth world. You cannot live unless you kill. I remember one time, now I'm a meat eater, part Cherokee, I confess. I'm a meat eater. I like meat. But in my line of work, I end up with a lot of vegetarian people. And I was doing a wilderness program one time, and I sit down in front of a great big old hamburger, and this poor little vegetarian girl kind of looks over at me like I had crushed her world. The great kahuna eats meat. I looked at my plate, and I looked over at hers. She picks up her carrot, and she munches and puts it back down. And I look over at her plate, and I look at mine. I said, you have a problem with me eating flesh? She says, you killed that poor animal in order to eat. I said, at least I killed it. You're eating that carrot raw and alive. But that's the way of things. We've had to be parasitical in order to survive, because the frequency has not been present for us to live on light. The time is coming. The time is here that we can once again step into our birthright as beings of light. Matter is energy. Energy is light. We are all beings of light, Albert Einstein. But you know, there is a price of entry. It's not like we can just sit on our thumbs, being in the victim stance, and say, ba-ba, 12, 21, 12, it's all going to magically change. We're going to be the fifth world, and we will have arrived. Sorry, Charlie. There's a saying by Gwilda Wiyaka that applies so beautifully here. And I had to write it down. By the way, I have a closed head injury, so I don't remember things. This is the good news. Okay, unencumbered by any prior knowledge of what's going on, I'm available for what's happening now. Right? No one shall meet the dawn save by the path of the night. No one shall meet the dawn save by the path of the night. Now, the only thing that we could do in our history was deny our pain, deny the darkness, deny our damage, deny our programming, because we couldn't change it. And the only way to live with it was to pretend it didn't exist. Never underestimate the power or the usage of denial. But these are the days when the truth can't hide. We're being challenged by the increasing light. And the increasing light, as it moves into us, starts to rattle loose everything that isn't in agreement with it. So that leaves us in this position where we either have to shift or get off the pot. I didn't say that, did I? I didn't say. Is that what I meant to say? So how do we do this shifting? How do we face our pain? How do we look at the darkness? The group that came before me just tonight had a very grim and painful message. And it's absolutely true. I work with more people that are victims of sexual and ritualistic abuse that have been programmed for generations to perpetrate it onto each other. Why? Because by systematically programming us through whether that method or others, it diminishes our frequency. And if our frequency is diminished, we can no longer control our own lives, but are subject to the system to provide for us in exchange for pumping our life's blood into it. At every level, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, we have been subjected and are subjected to programming. And unless we take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and start to seek out and unearth our programming in order to release it and transmute it, the world will move on, the light will move on, and we better dig a deep hole. Because Spirit's going to shake us up and pick us up and shake us by the ankles until the change falls out of our pockets. By all the miasms and blocked places in our body, our emotions, our mind, and our spirit that are no longer in agreement, because these are the days the truth can't hide.